Coming up on this edition of Cogeco News, bad news for Jack Garland Airport as Air Canada pulls out operations. New location for low barrier shelter, and the battalion gets some international flavor. Welcome inside the Your TV studio for this Tuesday edition of Cogeco News. Truly local, my name is Clark Heupel, and I wish you all a very happy Canada Day. Well, we do have breaking news stemming out of North Bay's Jack Garland Airport as Air Canada has announced they are ceasing operations indefinitely, and the coronavirus pandemic is being blamed for the economic implications. This news came through just around the lunch hour on Tuesday. Air Canada confirming through a press release that there has been billions of dollars of cost implications due to the fact that the coronavirus pandemic, of course, limiting travel. And North Bay will not have regular flights from North Bay to Toronto from Air Canada. This is breaking news, and we will certainly have much more news on this following Canada Day. We have a day off of Cogeco News on Wednesday, and we will look to have much more information come Thursday as the economic impact will be felt from the coronavirus for years to come, and the most obvious implications of the coronavirus pandemic, a ceasing of operations for Air Canada out of Jack Garland YYB. We are going now to the Coronavirus Board for the latest information in our area. And the North Bay Parry Sound District Health Unit did announce on Monday that there is a new coronavirus case in the North Bay Parry Sound District. That person is in self-isolation. That brings the total caseload to 31, and there has been one death caused by COVID-19 in our area. More news on this very busy Tuesday. A gap in low barrier shelter service was feared as the funding to operate the Pete Palangio location on Wallace Road was set to expire at midnight tonight. A one-time COVID relief fund of $100,000 is being granted to DSAB, the District of Nipissing Social Services Administration Board, as there is a plan in place for a new location of low barrier shelter, and that gap will be filled come the end of July. The District of Nipissing Social Services Administration Board has a plan in place to continue to provide low-barrier shelter service as the funding to operate Pete Palangio Shelter is running out. The new low-barrier shelter will be located at 590 Chippewa Street, which is the future home of the Transition House.
The board, through recommendation yesterday, unanimously supported this as the site for a more permanent low-barrier shelter on this location. So we're working through that process with the owner at this particular point.
Portable buildings will be erected on concrete pads that will be connected to city services. The plan is to be implemented by the end of July. Meanwhile,
this morning that we received support for the city to continue the low barrier shelter at the Double Rinks location. It will change to a certain extent on the 7th, down to half-day operation, and that will take place through to July 31st. So that's basically where we are, Clark, right now. It's been quite a dance that we've gone through.
now the setup here at the Chippewa location will be fairly rudimentary, more or less, so to speak. It's to provide shelter. It doesn't necessarily have to be anything extravagant. It's to make sure people are safe, sheltered, and cared for. That's the essence of what DSAB does. Is that true?
That's exactly right, and that's probably the best way to encapsulate that. Certainly, providing basic amenities. They will be portable units with the necessary washrooms and shower facilities and sleeping facilities, and that's probably the best way to describe it.
And when it comes down to it, this is an expensive process. It's not very affordable to be operating double rinks full-time for a long period of time.
Yeah, and that's that's been the essence of discussions that have gone on with the service providers. And I did want to speak about the Canada Community Advisory Board that made recommendations to the DSAP board. We certainly appreciate their input. And at the same time, there have been ongoing issues that I'm aware of over in the Double Rinks area, and certainly the community over there. We certainly thank them for being patient.
As we sit here today, last day of June 2020, just 3 weeks until the Canada-U.S. border will open back up. There is a strong chance the border closure will be extended given the astronomical rate the coronavirus is spreading in the United States. The portfolio of Nipissing MPP Vic Fideli is economic development, job creation, and trade. Much of that work is done south of the border with hand-to-hand contact and handshakes and face-to-face contact for meetings. All of that is on hold as the border is shut down till at least July 21st. Will that shutdown be extended?
It'll be up to both federal governments to make that decision. At this point, when you look at what's happening in the States, although it's 3 weeks away, you're going to need a couple of weeks of good data, which won't happen for a couple more weeks. I won't be surprised either way when they make a decision. But what it means for trade, as our trade minister, is goods are flowing every day back and forth. It's our largest trading partner. We do almost 80% of our exports out of Ontario go into the US, so that won't be affected. But there's nothing like face-to-face meetings and the sales type meetings that need to happen. Will need to happen sooner than later. A lot of people are just quite tired of doing the teleconferencing and the video conferencing, but it's been very successful for Ontario as we've done worldwide sales calls. But having the physical border open will be better, but I'm not entirely sure it's going to happen that quickly.
Meanwhile, Canada Day 2020 will be one to remember. No parades, no gatherings for fireworks, no large parties. It's a time to reflect and stay safe.
Well, it's going to be very different, let's face it. I think this will probably be the one where it really starts to hit home that we've got a summer without all of these events. And so all I would say to people is, look, we've come so far, 3 or more months, social distancing, we're almost at the end of, where you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Don't give in, stay safe, stay healthy. You need to protect your loved ones. So just be reflective over the course of the holiday.
And by its nature, Canada Day is a joyous occasion. It's a time to celebrate everything Canadian. While this is very true this year, for many, July 1st will have a somber tone as servicemen and women, along with civilians, will be remembering recent tragic events in the Canadian Armed Forces, including the death of Snowbird's Public Affairs Officer, Captain Jennifer Casey. It will be an emotional day for 22 Wing Public Affairs Officer Captain Leah Pierce, who knew Captain Casey quite well. Following the tragic death of Captain Jennifer Casey on May 17th, Canadians banded together coast to coast to coast to mourn the loss of life. For those who knew Captain Casey on a personal level, the grief was overwhelming. 22 Wing Public Affairs Officer Captain Leah Pierce was one of those service members.
We worked quite closely together, and I knew her very well. So when she tragically died on the 17th of May, shortly after takeoff, out of Kamloops, BC, it struck me as not only sad, but powerless. As though I felt the need to do something. So it was a long weekend, of course, when I came back on the Tuesday, I discussed an idea that I had in order to commemorate her hard work and her passion here at 22 Wing. So what I had recommended that we do, and thank goodness for the leadership because they were fully supportive, was we had a PA branch or a public affairs branch flag new on the wing, and we flew it on the wing commander's pennant pole in commemoration of her dedication and her passion. And there was just a small group of us because of, you know, the restrictions in place for COVID-19. But we said a few words commemorating her life, and the flag flew at half-mast that day honoring her.
Throughout the coming days and weeks following her passing, some more mementos showed up on the placard here. Tell us about that.
1 or 2 days after our flag ceremony, that there were rocks placed at our 22-wing sign. We call it the welcome sign, but it's the new rock sign that we have. And we noticed that they were in commemoration of Captain Casey and her life, and the life that was cut too short.
A tribute to the late Captain Casey will be seen and heard over the Golden Horseshoe on Canada Day. A Lancaster bomber will be flying out of Mount Hope, the first flight for the Lancaster in 2020. That flight will be in the memory of the late Captain Casey.
She'll be the first to tell you that the Lancaster is quite an amazing aircraft. If you ever had the chance to actually get in one, you would see the conditions that the operators had during the war. I can only imagine what it would be like. So having such an aircraft like that fly with a dedication to you would be inspirational to anyone. And again, Jen was a dear family to hear as well in 22 on North Bay. And as you'll see, there's some rocks on our signage dedicated to her. Some people left some rocks. So, she had an infectious, a positive attitude that's captured the country. So no more fitting tribute than having such a special aircraft fly in.
And my father down in Burlington will have his phone pointed at the sky for the Canada Day takeoff of the Lancaster bomber. We hope to share some footage of that. It's quite loud. You don't miss it coming on Thursday's edition of Cogeco News, as tomorrow we have a holiday, of course, for Canada Day. More news right after this. Welcome back to Cogeco News. Even in the virtual world, Team 1305 continues to rack up awards. The robotics team out of North Bay recently captured a Chairman's Award for the way they assist and interact with other robotics teams.
Grand entrance by Colton Chaput as he went through the Gateway Arch, but that was done by design.
Every year we choose a different theme for our season, and this year we talked about it and we chose the theme Gateway to First. So it's based off the Gateway to the North Arch, as well as we found that we do a lot of things that we're a gateway for people to join first.
These kids get numerous awards every year for their skill and the way they deport themselves. And that's what the Chairman's Award is all about.
The award is described as being awarded to an outstanding team that is a role model for other teams to emulate. So us specifically, we were given this award for our outreach events, the work we do with other teams in our community.
First 1305 really takes the high road, and by taking that high road, they inspire everybody to do better, no matter where they are, and that means a lot to them.
I mean, it's really great to be a part of such an amazing team, and I think everyone really loves being able to work on those things, outreach events and other things that we do. There's a lot of fun parts of that, and it's really great to be able to go out and see. And me personally, I really love going to these events and seeing kind of their faces light up, these children who come to our event, and kind of, or when they come up with their ideas, and they're always so excited. So it's really cool to see that.
But the one thing about First Robotics is this: they do compete, and they compete most seriously, but they also help competitors even in the middle of a competition.
Well, we actually have a term for that in the FIRST community. It's called gracious professionalism, and it's really two parts. There's the gracious part, and we're always trying to be kind and work with other teams because we want them to succeed as well. But professional is also being really great at something, so we work to be the best that we can be, and also work with other teams so they can be the best that we can be, because we really want a healthy competition and to be able to have fun with all of these great teams.
Now it's holiday tomorrow, so I'm going to let loose a bit. I've been trying to teach Greg that for years. Okay, I'm going to pay for that one. The Calendar Legion has been closed since St. Patrick's Day. That's 3 months. Legions across Canada remain closed during the coronavirus pandemic. However, Branch 445 is offering a fish and chips drive-through this coming Friday. You're urged to pre-order.
It's safe to say that this meal is not part of a keto diet, but that's okay. It tastes great. And you can help support the Calendar Legion while eating some fish and chips.
Finally, on July 3rd, we're going to be doing takeout dinner, fish and chips, one of our most popular dinners. So we're going to have our volunteers in the kitchen doing some work. We anticipate we've already had about 80 pre-orders, so I think that'll go up a little bit before Friday. We anticipate people will drive to the front door, pay for their purchase, either cash or debit. We will give them a ticket they'll take to the back door, and they'll get their food.
How much are the fish and chips?
The fish and chips are $12, and it includes a bun, butter, and a bottle of water.
Where do people call to pre-order?
Call the Calendar Legion, 705-752-3773. If there's no answer, leave a message and we'll get back to you.
What time do people pick them up?
We're going to have pickups between 4:30 and 6.
And this is just a really feel-good way to kind of celebrate Canada Day week. Legion's being closed, however, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and sooner rather than later, we hope the Legions will be back open.
That's right. We hope to open again. Obviously, we've done a beautiful renovation inside in our lounge, and nobody can see it. So we're looking forward to the day that we can open to that. We did discuss as an executive opening a patio, and we don't feel that's in our best interest at this point in time.
So I've placed my order, and you should too. Enjoy fish and chips on Friday. Well, we have your Canada Day weather picture right after this very short break. Do stay tuned.
Weather is brought to you by Canadore College. Great things happen here.
Welcome back to Cogeco News. As Greg's vacation goes throughout the entire week, we're delivering the weather forecast from our comfortable studio. The Humidex high on this Tuesday, and if you think it's hot today, just wait for tomorrow. Let's take a look at that 5-day forecast, which includes Canada Day. Overnight on this Tuesday night, as we get a nice look at downtown calendar, 17 warm degrees, the moon will be visible. On Wednesday, Canada Day, we have a high of 30, add 6 degrees to that for the Humidex. It's going to be muggy and humid. Sunny skies to boot, UV index 9, wear sunscreen, SPF 8000. On Wednesday night, 18 degrees, that's hot. Thursday now, warmer still, the Humidex not measured at this point, but it's likely to be warm, 32 and 17 for the high and low with clouds. Friday now, the end of the strange work week as we're split in two thanks to Canada Day. High 30, low 15 with mix of sun and cloud. And Saturday, the sun returns full force, 30 and 18. Turning the page back to the almanac, we can tell you Monday had a warm high at 29 and a warm low of 18. The normals are cooler at 24 and 13. Well, there you have it. There is your 5-day weather forecast. Do stay tuned. We'll have your sportscast right after this.
Sports is brought to you by Tag Construction for all your construction needs.
Welcome back to Cogeco News. Maybe the day before holiday, but big news in the CHL as it was import draft time, and the young man's name is Matvey Petrov. He's 17 years old, and he's from Western Russia. The battalion picked him first overall. Let's get some reaction from the battalion brass.
Yeah, you know what? Our groups worked really hard on this one. Given the circumstances, there's been a lot of video being watched, and it was across the board. You know, our entire staff was very comfortable with the player. We had a couple conversations with him prior to get comfortable, and then there was a familiarity with Matvey Guskov as well between the two. So we felt very comfortable making the selection, and we think he's going to add a lot to our program. What it does is it just kind of adds the momentum that we've been building since, we've had 3 first overall picks to this point now, and we feel very good about each one of those selections. And there's a lot of other good, young, talented players in our program that, now we got to put in the work with them and try and make sure that we can help them all live up to their potential. But certainly there's a lot of promise with our group, and we're looking forward to getting them into North Bay.
With a player like Petrov, I noticed he was an 03, so he fits in with the age group of last year's rookie class. Was that a factor of it? Was the age a factor where you're going to hopefully have him for more than just a season?
Certainly it was. It's something that's important to us is have a player grow with us. So of course there's always uncertainties when it comes to the import draft, but that was something that we wanted to have the opportunity, is to have a guy that was returning with us for a couple of seasons. So for us, having the first pick, we were able to look at a lot of different options. We looked at players that we felt were going to be drafted. We looked at players that were draft eligible next season, and just we kind of felt that given where our team's at, given some of the older forwards that we have, we felt like there was an opportunity to add a lot of skill, and the 03 age group seemed to just fit for us. And there's certainly, I'm sure for a lot of teams, the uncertainty with the NHL draft played a factor. But we were very comfortable, like I said, that Matt Vig can come in and he can contribute right away, and there's also the chance that he can do it for a couple years.
Well, we have reached the conclusion of this edition of Cogeco News on this Tuesday. Tomorrow is Canada's 153rd birthday, so I urge you to celebrate responsibly if consuming alcohol, and celebrate responsibly by staying in tune with the COVID recommendations. Stay within your bubble of 10 and remain socially distant outside your bubble. No fireworks, no fun fest, as we won't be looking up at the sky to see fireworks this year. However, we can look within and celebrate the great country that we live in. In light of not having no fireworks, let's head up with our eyes in the sky and enjoy some drone footage of beautiful North Bay as we drift off into the sunset for this June. No news on Wednesday. It's Canada Day. Happy birthday, Canada, and we'll see you back here live at 5 on Thursday.
The sun is bright, I see the light when I have your picture in my mind. The feeling grows, I need to know, will you lead me down this lonesome road? A cloudy sky will pass me by. Rainy days won't hold me back this time.